I know that I have been gone for quite a while and haven't done a video in, I don't know what, 6 months, but I really needed some time off because I had to move, one, and I did start employment on the corporate plantation again. So sometimes I'm tired, sometimes I don't have time, and I really do miss it. But, it's a time crunch with everything that I have coming up. But I will try to put something out there every once in a while. It's hard to make videos, edit them, and then put them out. I was thinking about doing a live stream possibly, but I'm going to try to put some more stuff out. And I've been thinking about my channel and the turn that it took when I first started, because when I first started my channel, I wanted to talk about a lot of things that had to do with slavery, but I mean, there's a lot of that out there just from my perspective. And then I started looking into other things and it just took a life of its own. But the real reason that I wanted to really start a channel was to go over biblical text, because there's a lot of people out there that are saying a lot of things, and I think the best way that you can get any information is to actually just sit down and read it and research for yourself. And one thing that I want to do is maybe once a week and make a playlist, do something regards to reading scripture, because that is the original reason that I even wanted to start the channel. So I think I really need to get on that. And I'm not someone who's saying that I know everything. I'm still learning, and I just want to read and learn with everyone else, get other people's input. But that's something that I want to do. And I'm not a Christian. I am not Muslim. I don't subscribe to any type of man-made religion. As far as Hebrew Israelites, do I believe black people are the people? Yes, I do. But I don't subscribe to any camps, any cults, any teachers that push certain agendas, who are nasty to women, who twist the scriptures so they can present themselves as God, or twist scripture to fit their own agenda. But that's something that I will be implementing in the channel, along with any other thing that I would like to talk about. What has been bothering me is every time I am listening to something about current events, and especially within kind of like the pro-black sector or the Pan-Africanism sector or anything like that, is these people, they will just rip apart the Bible, call it the white man's book, even though when you go back in history, these same people would be ready to believe any translations of any other text about Egypt in Africa, when the book that they talk about is the white man's book, was actually translated from scrolls, which nobody has that because it's in museums. I'm sure the Vatican has some items as well, and nobody's ever going to get their hands on that, because really mainstream religion does not want you to know what's really in the text or the true meaning of the text. They did translate to try and give their meaning, and some of it is very deceptive. I'll agree that some things that are in the biblical text are wrong, and it's done because people tried to put themselves where they shouldn't have been. But I think overall, you still get the message. But it seems like whenever someone is talking about a topic, it doesn't matter what it is, they throw the baby out with the bathwater. They will connect Christianity with the Bible. They will connect people's behavior with the Bible. One good example is a woman who was hit with sriracha and a Gatorade bottle. She was disrespected by this Arab male because she wanted to pay in change. And when he assaulted her, because that is assault, because he physically hit her and harmed her, she definitely should have done a police report. She should have went to the hospital, and she should have sued him till he had to go back where he came from, because guaranteed that man identifies and assimilate into the white category. So that's why he feels comfortable, because of Trump, because of all of the outrageous, insidious things that are being done to Black people. So there are Asian people, Arab people, all types of different cultures that assimilated into white, that think that they can do the same thing. After a while, I did hear that this woman said she wanted to forgive, she wanted to love, and people started to talk about her, and this is the thing with the Christians and the Bible, and all of that. Because these people that present themselves as intelligent, and they are highly educated, they could be intelligent, they could be educated, but they're fools as well. If you would just juxtapose the biblical text to the person's behavior, you can see that they are not coming from a biblical place. Because if Christians were honest with themselves, Christians don't read the Bible. When I was a Christian, I didn't read the Bible. And what I mean not reading the Bible, I'm talking about really sitting down and reading the Bible for yourself, instead of going to church, having a preacher who is there to get in your pocket and take your money and keep you in a poor state to mind you for your money. They listen to him, they get one scripture, and they go with it, and he gives his interpretation, and that's stuck in their head. So every time they read that scripture, their mind would go to the interpretation that the preacher is giving. It's very slick how they do it. If you actually sit down and read the Bible, it's nothing like what these religions are telling you is in there. She was not supposed to forgive that man who assaulted her. She is not supposed to love her enemy. And one Bible story that I can give for that behavior is King David and the Philistines. When someone is threatening your life or threatening you, you are not supposed to be so forgiving. Really, the biblical text is talking about those within your tribe. So the one person who Black people would just straight up like to kill, some people have family members they haven't spoken to. Some people have killed people, have beat up people who look like them. If someone crosses them one time, and it doesn't have to be something big, they will not forgive them for the rest of their life if they're Black. But it seems like if it's another race or another culture, Black people will jump to forgive that person, which is supposed to be the other way around, because this biblical text is dealing with a chosen people. So if you believe you are the chosen people or know that, then you are supposed to treat your own differently than you treat other people. You should be a little bit more understanding and more forgiving. You, not meaning you get ran over or rolled over. It's just, be more understanding because you know their struggle. You go through it. This woman had every right to take any legal avenue that she wanted. I don't know who got in her ear. I don't know who talked to her. I don't know what church she goes to. I don't know if she's deep into Christianity, but I'm not going to hold Black people being deep into Christianity against them, because it came via slavery, and we were already a spiritual people who believed in God. So it wasn't hard to trick us by twisting our own text. Was a way to survive, to go along, to get along. And now you have people who are just downing Black people, especially Black women who are within the church and who are in Christianity. I don't blame them. This was a survival mechanism. This is something that was pushed onto us, and people are saying because they feel like they've been enlightened. Again, fools, enlightened fools, that they can now talk down about these people when they were in the same boat as those people, which lets you know this was done to us. So you should have compassion. See, that's another example. People who talk down about people who were in man-made religions, and you can see the trickery that's going on within these religions. And then you talk about your own people like a dog. In the biblical text, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be compassionate. You are supposed to, speak with them, and then they make their choice. But you can see Black people just ripping other Black people apart. It's absolutely disgusting. Just because they feel like they are knowledgeable and informed on something, and it makes them feel good actually to look down on another Black person, because it's acceptable to look down on Black people. You can get away with that. They will not attack the actual culprit who pushed this religion onto Black people and made Black people have to adhere to this religion through threat and terrorism. Another thing that is really disgusting, because at the end of the day, it always comes back around to the first point where everything started. This whole thing, when you read in Genesis, it says that the deceiver actually told Eve that, that God didn't want their eyes to be open because they would be as God, which is another way of saying you would be God. And now you have Black people saying, woman is God or man is God because we're in his image, or they just throw out the biblical text altogether and say that they are gods. It's just back to the same thing. The first thing that got us virtually messed up, people are going back to. This is why I like to read the biblical text, because those people don't really get under my skin, because I already know where they're coming from. I already have instructions that this is what was going to be happening, so there's no reason to get mad. Again, back to the lady who was hit with the Gatorade and the Sriracha bottle. She was not supposed to forgive that man. She was supposed to do what she needed to do, because, again, the story about King David, the Philistine, Goliath. King David did not go up to Goliath, throw his weapon down, and extend a hand of warm welcoming, of prayer and forgiveness, and I love you. And that's the thing that I ask everyone. You are sitting up here talking about the biblical text, and the Bible is telling you to act this way with someone who is apparently your enemy. But yet you have examples of our ancestors and how they handled their enemy. I'm not saying that you go out and do what King David did, but there's other avenues that you can get it done. He basically cut the head off the giant, and it was no forgiveness, it was no hugging. Those people had to be put down, because it was either our ancestors, or it was going to be the Philistines. They were not going to back off. They were going to keep on until they killed them. That was the intention. There was no talking, there was no reasoning, no nothing. They were ready to kill them. David was not about to sit back and let that happen. So he had to do what he had to do. So this is coming from the religion side of, you need to forgive those who are your enemy. Even the Most High will not forgive those who are his enemy, who they keep working towards the destruction of his people. There is set aside destruction for those people, no matter the skin color. So you can't say letting somebody walk all over you, kill you, harm you, assault you is biblical, because it's not. There's a few other things in there that a lot of people try and use to discredit the Bible. One of them is, giving money, saying they're robbing the community. You guys are stupid. If you sit down and read the biblical text, when you are a part of a congregation and you are giving money, which you can give money, you can give offerings if you feel like this is a good environment and you are getting knowledge from this congregation. But when everyone gives to the congregation, it is to be divided evenly amongst the congregation, and you don't see super churches, these super mega churches, getting all this money and dividing it evenly and handing it out to their congregation. You don't see it, so they're not following biblical text. Tithing was your crop to feed the Levitical priests, because they worked in the temple, and that's what they did. It was a lot that went into it, so they would need to be fed. So you would bring 10% of your crop that you would grow to feed them. And, if you could not make the journey, if it was too much for you to bring that to them, you could then sell it, get money for it. You would take your money and you could buy your strong drink, your strong alcohol, your wine, or whatever else that you wanted. But basically, that's what tithing is. And a lot of people are saying that the Limba tribe in South Africa, being the poorest of the poor, having absolutely nothing, could possibly be the Levitical priest. And again, people will say that a lot of people who say they are the chosen people say that they just don't want to connect with Africa, which is a lie amongst itself. We do believe there's different tribes, like there's the Hamitic tribe and the Semitic tribe, and we're not supposed to mix. But we do believe that a lot of our people are still there in Africa. So that's another lie we can cross off the list. That's, some of these people who say this, I wonder about their agenda. Because you can't sit up here and act like you're giving people information and you know none of this or nothing. They can't give you any information. They're just trying to tell you what they believe is going on. Maybe they watched a 10-minute video of a camp. I don't know. Maybe they're listening to people who comment in their comment section, which they don't even know. Some of these people are Caucasian people with Hebrew names. They try and mimic what how believers talk. When you read the biblical text, one thing that people, and I think this is the most insidious, disgusting thing I've ever heard of, especially those in the scientific community say, those who try and make a case against there being a God and the biblical text, they will say, then why is there unicorns in the Bible? They will say unicorns aren't real. There's no evidence for unicorns. So there you go. I remember a actual scientist saying this, which just makes me look at him like he's a snake. You know, he wants to present himself as intelligent, again, an intelligent fool, but he was actually being dishonest, because there is a book, it's a scientific book that talks about unicorns. It's actually from Asia. I can't find that book anywhere, but when you pull up unicorn, this is what you see. This is usually what comes to mind when people think about a unicorn. It's pushed to you as a child. And I do believe that this is an extension of Pegasus from Greek folklore. It's just that this horse has the unicorn instead of the wings. And we know there's no winged horse. But if people would actually, understand history, understand language, which we don't. We don't have a understanding of different languages, even ancient languages, because a lot of things have been lost because of that. You would look at this, unicornus. And I really don't know the Latin term concerning two-horned unicorns, but like I said, a lot of the language was lost, and we have this broken English, and a lot of people are making assumptions. And I wanted to show this. This is basically what a unicorn is. If you look up the definition of unicornus, which is where the word was taken from, it literally means a one-horned animal. And I do believe that there was an issue within the text where it's another word, and it's actually that word and then unicornus, which means a two-horned animal. And we have unicorns running around everywhere around the world. They are rhinoceros. So basically, the biblical text, which is here in Deuteronomy, it is 33:17. It basically is talking about the strength of two different tribes, and it's making a difference because if there's unicorns running around, which is rhinoceros, keep that in mind, then people would know that, the two-horned unicorn, one horn is bigger than the other. It states with the two tribes, one are 10,000 of Ephraim and one are 1,000 of Manasseh, which is just juxtaposing one horn is bigger than the other, one tribe is bigger than the other. So you can see the trickery that goes on with the Bible, a lot of the language that was lost, and the reason why it was, taken away from us, our understanding, our knowledge, because even some of the books that were taken out, it really talks about, what the people look like, the fact that there would be a people who would change everyone in the biblical text to look like them. And if you actually read that, you would get a clear picture of what is going on and how you should behave and how you should act when you are surrounded by your enemies, and how you treat your enemies. And going back to the lady who was assaulted and terrorized, if she really sat down and read the biblical text, she would not have reacted the way she did. The religion part of it, the Christianity part of it, the any mainstream religion part of it is to make you docile, actually to twist your mind into thinking you're supposed to act a certain way when you have instruction in the text telling you how to proceed and how you can defend yourself and how you can defend your children and your family, and to understand that you're surrounded by your enemies, even those who look like you. So that is a few things that I wanted to get off my chest, specifically about those who rip apart the Bible and talk about the biblical text, and they will make fun of the biblical text. And when you hear people making jokes, they are coming from a place of ignorance. And I say ignorance because they have no understanding of the true biblical text. The only thing that they have is the European version of this text. And, you know, these same people sometimes even use biblical text to get their point across. And some of these people have a very Eurocentric mindset. And some of the things that go on within our community, you can see that it's enjoyed. It's a part of European culture, but a lot of Black people enjoy it. And they really don't want to adhere to certain things that you're supposed to do and not supposed to do because it doesn't please their flesh. But I'll go ahead and end it right here. Let me know what you think. Let me know some of the things that you've heard out there that's outrageous and maybe you're confused on, and we can look it up, go over it, we can talk about it, communicate. Let me know, and I will see you in the next one.